Welcome to the Sales Hunter podcast. I'm Mark Hunter, the Sales Hunter. Hey, today, top sales performers have a routine. It's time we get serious about how we use our time. Hey, Steve Jobs, there was a reason why he wore a black tee each and every day. In just a moment, I'm going to share with you the 5 routines that every top performer does, every top sales performer does. And you know what? You can be doing them too. Let's get the show going now.
You're listening to the Sales Hunter Podcast with Mark Hunter, where the focus is to help you as a sales leader sell with confidence and integrity. And now here's your host.
Hey, it's exciting to say that we've been listed as the #1 new sales podcast for 2022 on iTunes. Thank you to you, all the listeners. And hey, if you go to the show notes, I've got a link down there where you can download for free my new ebook on prospecting as a way of saying thank you. And hey, if your company's not had me speak at one of your sales meetings, we need to talk, okay? Reach out. Let's get the Sales Hunter, me, in front of your sales team. Okay, hey, let's get going here. We're talking about top performers have a routine. Do you? If you were to compare your days for a 2-week period, how similar would they look? One of the easiest ways I can tell if someone's a real top sales performer and not a poser is to ask them to detail how they start their day and what the key activities are that they do each day, broken down by the time of day and how they do them. The real top performer can actually roll these off the top of their tongue without even thinking about it. It happens. The poser, the imposter, struggles with it. That right there tells me one thing. Top sales performers have a routine and they stick with it. They absolute stick with it. Now, lest you think the top performer doesn't have customer meetings, because how can I have a routine if I've got customer meetings and customers calling me and all this sort of stuff? No, hold it. You don't get to be a top sales performer without having customers you're dealing with on a regular basis. The difference is how the top sales performer handles their time because they control their routine. They remain focused. You see, the routine begins by ignoring the beeping of the email, a new text, a Slack message, or anything else. Whoa, what did he say? Yeah, because here's the whole thing. They screen out everything, but the absolute most important activity to allow them to stay focused in their routine. They do not multitask. Yeah, that's a hot button. Okay, we'll do a deeper dive on that one in a later show. Okay, let me give you an example of a top performing salesperson I get to work with on a regular basis and how he deals with his customers. He knows by the nature of his business and the nature of his customers and prospects, the most likely time to reach out to them or for him to do them is between 7:30 and 10 a.m. Yeah, it's a little bit unique of a business, but it's 7:30 to 10 a.m. That's his sweet spot for both making prospecting calls and having business come in. That window is very much customer focused. If he wasn't dealing with an inbound call or making an outbound call, he's only focused on doing very simple tasks because he's focused on serving the customer. This same salesperson knows that come 3 o'clock in the afternoon, his customers are non-existent. His prospects are non-existent. They've gone into sleepy time. They've shut down. So from 3 to 5 is when he's now focused on his heavy thinking. He's now building proposals. He's working on all the activity that he has to focus his time. You see, he built his routine around his customers. The middle part of the day, a little more flexible because again, stuff can happen. There's still opportunities to be prospecting, incoming calls, etc. But he still, even during that period of time, time of day, remains focused on whatever the same task is and doing the same task at the same time every day. You see, the key to this person's success is having a routine. Okay, you might say the example I shared won't work for you. I get it. But hold on. This means if you want to be a top performer, you've got to find windows of time that will work. Now, in my case, it means starting my workday by 6 a.m. And I have a commitment to myself that the most important task, most important project I'm focused on is the one I'm doing first at 6:30 in the mornings when I'm working on scripts for podcasts. It's when I'm working on customer proposals, keynote speaking engagements, et cetera, et cetera. I don't even consume myself with email before 9 a.m. Other than a quick glance to ensure Rome didn't burn down overnight. You see, I don't worry about it. I stay focused. Yeah, I would be concerned if Rome burned down, but you get the drift. I'm not worried about that. See, I stay focused on my routine. Top performers also rely on blocking their time. Now, most use a concept called time blocking, or as I like to call it, the 2x4 concept. Now, the 2x4 concept I've talked about before. I'm not going to go into it in depth here. It does not imply taking a 2x4 and pounding it on your forehead. No, 2x4 means you basically take your day and you block it. You block it into 4 2-hour blocks. And each 2-hour block is kind of dedicated to a specific task. Yeah. You see, this is the way they stay focused. See, the reason top performers love routines is simple. It takes less energy and less thinking to really make it happen. Now, think about how you get dressed in the morning. I'm sure you have a very set routine and it works smooth. Now, do the same routine in a hotel bathroom, working out of a suitcase rather than a closet, and I'm sure it's going to require more thinking. And most likely it's going to require more time. You see, the routine is what saves your brain and saves your time. Routines work. Okay, the top 5 things I see top performers put into a daily routine. Here's the list. 1, updating their CRM. 2, laying out plans for the next day. 3, dealing with non-priority email. 4, reviewing orders, checking their numbers. 5, reviewing goals and objectives. We'll put these 5 in the show notes. But if you took just these 5 items and locked them into a daily routine with a set time and didn't deviate it, I'm sure you'd find yourself with more time each day to do what you need to do, and that's sell. Remember, hey, becoming a top sales performer, you just have to commit yourself to it. And this whole routine is about being absolutely focused. And it's why I've got coming up very shortly in the next couple of weeks the Sales Hunter University, an online program on how you can really become a top performer. You see, you can do it. Anybody can do it if they're willing to be disciplined and apply the rules. Hey, I want to say thank you for listening. I do trust you value the content shared, and you'll take a moment to subscribe to the podcast. And hey, would you leave us a review on your favorite podcast app? Like I said, we number 1 in iTunes sales category for 2022 as a new podcast. Guess what? We are very quickly becoming not only we're in the top 10% of all podcasts, but very quickly moving into the top 5% of all podcasts. Hey, remember, each week you get 2 shows, one for me just like this, and another one with an interview of a leading sales expert. Hey, I'm Mark Hunter. You've been listening to the Sales Hunter podcast, your answer to cutting edge sales insights. I'm Mark Hunter. Thanks for listening.